follow a recipe. Yeah. I mean, it's like,
Right. So I would like to have you guys talk about your work on how you make your stuff, and when you spray glaze, how do you get your effect? So I will clean up a middle section, and you can bring your stuff here and sit on this chair and talk about it. Okay. From my previous demonstration, I already showed you. This is our first week, second week, and this was from last week. Here, you see the more green, that's because I told you that I want to have a more green on the top, so I emphasize our green glaze more on the shoulder part. And the speckles was from our special clay body, the T2 and the B-mix combination. And this one is actually our memo white here, and you see that a lot of speckles coming out from the clay body, so it turned out quite nice.
Do you spray that one or dip it?
Just dip it. Just dip it. You don't need to spray it. Yeah, just dip the whole thing. Yeah. And if you get it a little bit thicker, you get even whiter on that spot. Okay. So that's the.
So the one on the right, did you use the green as well?
Yes. Yeah, this one. Just
Oh, you
not
did. I can see
not
it there.
emphasize as much as that one.
Right.
See here? Yeah. I think she counted, right? When I sprayed it, she counted how many times I go through. That's a good idea. Okay, that's a good idea.
I'm so surprised though because I thought you put a lot of glaze on it and
Yeah.
barely any green.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, it always make the difference when what the distance from your spray gun to your piece. Okay, if you go closer, then you're gonna emphasize more on the spot. So, some of your pieces I saw that some of the spot that is emphasized. That's because your gun too closer to that, and how fast you spin your wheel. Okay, that all a lot of variations. Okay, a lot of variations. So, all right.
So I basically followed the instructions and, you know, obviously my tops aren't as green as yours were, so I guess I didn't emphasize it quite as much as yours, but
Yeah.
I still like the blend of the red and the greens. I like the speckles. I like the idea of the rocks and the motion and everything like that. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy with it. Yeah,
Good, good.
it's good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you make them, you have any struggle with the foam, the shape?
Well, this guy, yeah. I mean, basically, I need to make it thinner, right? You have to make a. I thought I had it thin enough, but you know, you can see it looks more like a trout, but than a beautiful vase. But I'm still happy with it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Just I guess throw it thinner because when you alter it, it gets whiter at the top than you would expect.
Yeah, yeah. And also when you want to alter it, like I suggested, you want to keep your base smaller so that you don't squeeze it too much.
Right.
It's easier to alter it when the base is smaller.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you know, regardless, I think it turned out.
Okay.
pretty nice.
Anybody have any input or any question about his secret?
So the rocks, these are. Can you actually use like regular rocks in this sort of thing, or?
I never tried it, but I
The rocks
doubt it
explode
though.
in the
Yeah,
kiln,
I
or-
doubt it though. So
Yeah.
yeah, just find a dry clay. It's clay in the clay.
Sure.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a rock looking, but it's a clay. So
Yeah,
it's-
exactly. Yeah, you can use different clays. I imagine, like the what is it, the black one? You know,
Yeah,
that'd be
you can
pretty-
use different
yeah.
ones. Yeah, Black Mountain.
Yeah,
different
exactly.
clay.
That'd be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I think that one's really interesting, and the glaze came out really different. It's like a little bit more
Oh,
runny,
these, yeah.
but and it's a little bit shinier. And I like the way it came out. I think it makes it really interesting. Is there glaze on the bottom, or is it completely?
Yeah, I dripped a little bit
No,
in
no,
there.
I mean the very bottom. Is
Oh,
it brown
like
because
here?
there's less glaze on it?
It feels like it's actually glazed. I mean, this is.
Yeah, she was talking about here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely put it up on the little pipe that he showed, and it did
Yeah.
under there, and the green was on the top. So I guess the green sort of ran down a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe next time, if you don't have a more glaze, you can just turn it upside down,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just emphasize that part first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you flip over, and that way, usually people, if I would say that most of the people they have less glaze on the bottom because that you don't emphasize that spot. That's why
Right.
you have less. It's much browner on the bottom because the glaze is thinner.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, if you're on green, that's the guy to ask.
So I remember putting a lot of glaze. I was afraid that it was going to be too much. I love the green color. It's a little more green than I wanted, but I love this green effect. I did put quite a lot of glaze on the bottom, I think. I don't know if you agree.
Still not.
Not enough?
But it's variation, so yeah.
Here, I guess it's too much green because it became dark.
Yeah.
And on this one, I did the whole thing in red, and then I did the green, and then I went back over with red. But I think, again, too much. I think I tried to put green in the middle, and it's just too much, so it got dark. This one, I'm more happy with the gradient, and it has the stones on it, which I liked. But this side could have a little more green here. But I think I was emphasizing on this side more in the corner. But yeah, I think I'll have to work more on a little bit less of this type of green, so it doesn't turn the dark color. But I'm pretty happy with the effect. It's a little dark here, but I like it.
Good.
The same green everybody else is using, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Just more,
Right.
but sometimes too much. I don't know where that line is between enough and too much.
Well, just look at the whole piece. If you like it, that's a nice piece. It doesn't matter which spot is dark or green.
And in terms of form, based on the pieces that you demonstrated, yours were taller, had neck, and I didn't really get tall or neck, so that's a goal. This one I'm going to glaze, but this came out, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good variation on what you had taught.
I like how you only did one side on this one, not the glaze, but you only pushed in on one side.
Oh, yeah. It
kinda-
wasn't tall enough, so I was afraid if I did two, then I wouldn't be able to fit anything inside if I wanted to use it as a vase. It's heavy enough that it can hold water and be a vase, but
But it
I d-
almost gives me the idea like, oh, I could maybe like grab it in more, like if I make another one and use it as a pitcher. For pouring. You
it's
know,
food
that
safe,
kinda-
right?
Yeah, it's food safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, so these were mine, everything else is in the bisque. And I have to say that I had challenges with throwing. So I was pretty frustrated because I wasn't getting what I wanted to get. I wasn't getting tall enough and I wasn't getting thin enough. And so when I was working with things, they seemed like a particular challenge. So the one on the left, I failed a couple of times throwing it, so that was multiple attempts to get that, and it still isn't something that was the shape that I would necessarily go for. I would have liked it taller. And then the glazing, it was interesting because it seemed like I put so much on, but the bottom looks like it doesn't have hardly anything on it at all. And then the top, it seems almost all just green, like it didn't have any of the other color in it. So on the left, it's a little bit more variation, but the shape's a little Yankee, so, donkey, whatever it is. So anyway, so that's, I think that I need to practice throwing a lot more, and then I can get on with the practicing glazing.
So from my experience, this part here, you don't have as much speckles as this one. It means that it might have been in the kiln that has less reduction.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it's got less to do with how I treated the clay or
No,
whatever, just
no.
where it was in the kiln.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one more.
One more? Okay. Very productive. Good.
I was trying to be, because I didn't get a chance to come in other than the Wednesday nights, so.
Okay.
So, these are my pieces.
Mm-hmm.
These two I did on the same night, so I was going for the smushed look, and then I just decided to do something very different, more of like a spout. I was hoping for more green, but I guess I just didn't layer it enough. And I did notice when I was spraying that the red just seemed to come out a lot better than the green. Maybe it had something to do with the pressure, I don't know. But this one is definitely very speckled. And I don't know if that's a product of how I glazed or where it was.
Oh,
in
it's
this
the
time.
T2 clay.
Okay.
Yeah, T2 got lots of speckles coming out.
Okay.
I noticed occasionally the gun would be clogged and it would stop coming out, so maybe that's happened to you on the.
Maybe
green.
that's. It felt like I just wasn't getting a lot of spray.
Yeah.
And then these two were from the next project. This one, as you can see from the shape, I just was not happy with it because it was when I was pushing out, I just wasn't applying the right kind of pressure all the way around, so that's why it kind of got lopsided. And so I went for a second try, and then when pulling the top, I'm sure you guys have had this all happen to you.
No.
But I just, but I actually kind of like it.
I actually loved it.
Yeah.
I decided it kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
it worked with this piece. Sometimes it just falls completely, you know.
Yeah.
But this one, it actually brought something to it, so I decided to keep it and just go with it.
Cool.
And then this guy from the next night, I didn't get the swirl that I saw in your piece.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it's because of the pressure I was applying. It just wasn't very strong from the inside. But I mean, these are some of the biggest pieces I've ever thrown. I always have like a size limitation. I'll start with 4 pounds, but I'll end up with this size. So I was very pleased to see, you know, some bigger pieces. And it was a challenge, and I had a lot of fun.
Good.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right.
So this is the first one in deformed, and I tried adding a different clay body to it, thinking it would stand out, it would make it a little bit different, but it didn't really. This is a dark peat, this little kind of band around it.
Might be too dark.
Yeah.
If
it
you
was
use
just-
a lighter clay, it might
yeah,
show the
it wasn't much
contrast.
different. And I learned that I'm really bad at that whole just winging it for the trimming, for misshapen. So I definitely need some hand building techniques for these projects. And then this one was the cheese grater one, and not cheese grater, cheese slice, cheese wire.
Cheese
And again, I had trouble trimming up the bottom, so they're really heavy. They're much heavier than I expected to be. The glaze, I guess I just got too heavy on this one. I don't remember which one I did first, so I remember thinking the first one was kind of heavy, so so it was probably that one, and then this one was a little bit less. But I get good variation in the bottom, but kind of put it on top. So I have 2 more to glaze. So I'll.
Good.
This is the first one. So I just put more green right here. Oh, one thing is when I tape it, I try to actually tape it longer, but it didn't show up. So hopefully that I want to see the clay body itself, but didn't show up very well. But some of them you can see differently when I tape it. So this is, I don't remember which one is the second one. But anyway, I try to emphasize a little bit green right here. Put a little bit different 2 years because it's already out of balance, so. And this one too, put it out of green. And you can see that I didn't raise it up, so you can see the most of this probably clay body itself. So I have another 3 piece.
Which one you like most?
Oh, I don't know. Probably this one.
I like that one too.
Yeah, me
I like
too.
the glaze, how it come out. Like I like actually, if you turn around, I like.
Turn
Can I
around.
see it again?
Which way?
I like the white. I mean, I don't know.
I generally spread it very close, so it's probably much thicker than it's supposed to be. But I mean, very subtle color.
Glaze on the left one the best.
You like this one?
Yeah,
Yes, it's very-
it's just the corner of the green.
Oh. And that's it. Thank you.
Actually, I was struggling for this class as well, so this piece weren't actually from this class. But so on the left one, I used Shin glaze, the green one. And the clay I'm using is not actually the one that you guys use, so it's just like a white clay with B mix with frog, I think. So yeah, so that's what it looked like if it's just green on white clay.
That's cool.
And then the yellow comes from the yellow salt on the glazing, and this is where it got too thick and it started having that black speckles. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I was using Shin's clay, so you can see a lot of speckles here, even inside. Inside, I just apply the clear glaze, but it seems that we can still see some speckles inside because this is reduction, so the clear glaze becomes gray. And on the lid and the top of the rim, I apply some orange chino, so it's very shiny. And on the side, still the clear glaze, but I use a brush very, very thin here, so it's not that shiny. And right here, still it's still the same thing, the clear glaze. Yeah. And on the bottom here, I have a stand. I push some orange chino here, so you can see. So yeah, pretty much.
And, well, we ran out, right? So, and I wasn't here for some of the projects. So anyways, I used High Fire Gold Chino on all these three here, and I took the ear syringe and I threw berry rust at it. So it's berry rust with Chino. I was hoping that the berry rust would show up brighter, but it didn't. And so also this one, it was interesting. Like when we were doing the lines in class, I wish I would have cleaned it up more. I found when I was sanding that the little balls came out. So I had to go find them. And then I did paper clay on them. So hopefully they'll stay. I'm not touching anything anymore. I'm just gonna, I'll try this one in your glaze though, because I really like that combination that you do. But anyway, those are my
Next spot, yeah.
streaks of berry rust.
This one?
So very small pieces because I don't have any throw big yet. But just kind of following this Shin technique, and I tried to do something a little bit different with this one. And I thought if I throw a really big round pot, I could squish it and make it really round. And I found that it's really hard because your bottom has to be fixed and trimmed a lot so that the shape is a little bit more oval. But I couldn't figure out what to do to make the decorative. It's hard. I do like this one, except I didn't glaze it too well because this is actually Chris's. When I was out of town, he actually got the proper instruction.
Okay. And you didn't.
I got the second-hand instructions, and
Actually,
like
I think I saw.
we had that
I
discussion
saw-
about how thick we should glaze
you,
it.
you were a little thin.
I went a little too thin because
Yeah.
I was worried that it would turn too dark because I didn't.
I
really-
actually saw when you.
So I have a question. I know with the regular glazes, we can reglaze. What happens if you reglaze on these?
Can you reglaze it?
Yeah, you should be able to reglaze if you could get the clay to stick on the fire pot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
And your hairspray works.
Here's
Really?
great.
No, seriously, you put hairspray and then you glaze it.
Oh.
That's a really bad idea.
Not a good idea.
No, bad idea.
I know
I
somebody
think-
used corn syrup and mixed it with the glaze.
Oh.
I never tried it.
Just
Wait, you
cornstarch.
didn't like it because of the firing of it, or?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to get the glaze, the finished part to reglaze, first you can heat up your pot,
Yeah, that was
Okay.
the other solution,
and then
because it dries.
when it glaze, you get the glaze, you remove the top layer of the water, use the very thick glaze to help the glaze
so
to
don't
stick on.
shake it up.
So no spraying.
You can spread it.
You can still
You
spray
can
it. but-
still spread it, yeah.
Okay. So the thing that I didn't quite like about this pot is that I couldn't pinch in tiny little pinches like Hsin does, and I would pinch.
But your finger is bigger than mine.
No, I just pinched too hard, and then it like went through, and then it got bigger and bigger. So I would have loved it if it was just a little tinier. But in general, I was going to throw this out, but then I ended up liking this. I like this shape. But anyway, so it's just a few experiments. I do like how Chris glazed it. His one contribution while I was in New York. But so what do you think?
I love the middle one.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
I like that the variation. I like the second and third one too. I mean, this one, the right one and the middle.
I figure if it's a little
I mean,
red.
I like the left one too. I like the glaze on the left. Right? Yeah. And I like the shape on the right, and the middle one. I love the variation we have.
So Chris will be glazing tomorrow from.
One thing I had an issue with when glazing was with the tape that was on the rocks. The glaze would build up and then
Drip,
it would
drip.
drip. And so you can see the drip from,
Yeah,
from
so
there.
the middle one.
Yeah, and that's because it was building up on the tape. So you would wait for it to dry on the tape and then before I do the next pass.
Or you can use a sponge to wipe it.
Or, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
I see.
But that's it.
Okay, thanks.
I actually made 3 pieces.
So I made 4 pieces. And when I start this, I have never used this clay before. So when I start, I was really scared, like, cause I think I'm used to more softer clay, so I was not really used to the clay. Okay. First, I am really not used to clay that is harder, and and also I cut my finger, and I need to use my glove for the first 2 weeks, so I have hard time to pull anything because I cannot feel the wetness of the. But then I kind of get used to the 3rd week. I started to feel better with the glove, and yeah. So and also for here I use the wrong tool when I make the mark. I used what they call the needle tool. It was not the good idea. It was not a good idea. And so then like I learned that I need to use the wooden tool, and so I wouldn't have the little pieces that come out and all that. And for this one, I mean for the first 2 one, I was get really nervous, I guess, like using the new clay, and I don't know. And this one I came out, I don't know, I think it can be a chopstick like thing for me.
Looks like a nice cup to me. I saw that. It's like, wow, I want to make a series of
I
tumblers.
thought it was like I have no idea, because this piece is supposed to be the one that you squeeze, and when I squeezed them, they were too wet, so it was I couldn't squeeze them anyway.
I think it's a
And
great
then
water glass.
I at the end I used the cheese grater kind of thing, and I like the marks, like when I was trying to, because it was so thick, like after I pull, and I used the cheese grater to try to make the mark, and I just don't really have time to clean them up, and so I just leave them here. So I don't really like them, but the texture and pattern is here, so because I don't have time to clean at the time. And this is a teeny one. Oh, by the way, I did count how many times Hsin when he spray it, and I think I used 4 times too. But see, if the piece are bigger, it's not 4 times, because I guess I just spray it and the whole piece is already glazed. So so if it's so it really depends.
It depends.
Yeah, and also the distance you spray them also count. Because if it's too close, I just really just squeeze one time and like it's. I mean, actually half of the piece already glazed. So yeah, so that's what I have here.
When you want to talk about that piece,
Which
why
piece?
it's so different from others?
Which piece? Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
piece. So we have a friend here. He just he's here, and he just picked up my piece and then he glazed it before I found my piece. And then cause I didn't put my name here. Then I was looking for my piece. I can't find my piece, and I see a dripping wet piece on the shelf, and it's like, that looks like mine. And then so when he tried to clean it up, it was very nice, but it's dripping wet. So it was a very wet bisque, and cause we don't have time, so I glazed like only anyway, like about 30 minutes later, and it was very runny. And after I glazed them, I glazed 3 times. I cannot glaze 4 because it was so dripping. It was because it doesn't soak any. It's very wet already, so you cannot soak any more water, and so that's probably the reason it's a little bit dripping here and also here. But I also like that it didn't drip all the way. Maybe it's because it's dry, like drier glaze. And I think this side is not as runny, but this side is a little more runny. But I think the runny is from the green glaze a little bit. So that's yeah. So that's it.
Okay, thanks. Do I get everybody?
I think so.
Okay, right? So, that's good. Yeah, actually I like this piece. That the variations of the glazes. You could never get it again.
Well, just
It's a happy accident. You know, sometimes you don't know what is going to turn out, but you know, it come out just nice. It's beautiful. Yeah. So that's it for our class.